Just a few kilometers off the shores of northern Greece lie the stunning islands of Paxos and Antipaxos. In this episode, we'll take you along on an unforgettable one-day cruise, sailing across the Ionian Sea to an untouched beach with turquoise water stretching as far as the eye can see, past towering cliffs standing guard over the Mediterranean, into an amazing hidden sea cave, and through a quaint storybook town alive with cafés, boats, and that laid-back island vibe you just can't get enough of. This day had everything we love about Greece: sunlight, sea, and a little touch of adventure. The starting point for our island cruise was the port of Parga. There are many different providers offering cruises to the islands of Paxos and Antipaxos, either from Parga here or from the island of Corfu. On the islands, you can swim at secluded beaches and also go to the fantastic blue caves and check out the capital Gaios. The tours are all reasonably priced, between 30 and 35 euros per person, and they're absolutely fabulous. We booked our tour on the Megalochari motor sailboat. After checking in half an hour before departure, our boat left the dock at 9:45 a.m. sharp. The Megalochari is smaller than some of the other boats, which also meant fewer people and a more relaxed atmosphere on board. Exactly what we'd been hoping for. As it turns out, we picked a perfect day for our tour. The crossing to Antipaxos was wonderfully calm. The boat bobbed gently, just enough to remind us that we were out at sea, but never enough to feel uncomfortable. Inside the cabin, a small bar served drinks, and there were toilets downstairs. Nothing fancy, but exactly what you need on a long day on the water. Along the way, we were able to enjoy views back towards the Greek mainland and catch our first glimpse of the east coast of Paxos as we were approaching our first stop of the day on the island of Antipaxos. Antipaxos may be small, but it punches way above its weight with its gorgeous beaches. The most popular one is Voutoumi Beach on the northeastern tip of the island. We arrived there around 11:15 and joined the many other boats that were already moored just offshore. There were already a bunch of people swimming in the water, and with 45 minutes to enjoy our stop here, we quickly changed into our swimming gear and jumped in ourselves. An amazing spot for a swim. Deep turquoise water, just the right temperature, and a sense of calm that made the whole moment feel special. Backed by lush green hills and rows of shaded loungers, the whole beach had an easygoing feel, the kind that makes time slip by without you noticing. We had a great time here, but before we knew it, it was time to get back on board. At 12 o'clock, the crew raised the anchor, getting us ready to continue on to our next stop. The Megalochari drifted out of the quiet cove sheltering Voutoumi Beach, past rocky cliffs and neighboring Vrika Beach. Soon after, we passed the southern tip of Paxos and navigated through the little channel that separates both islands, heading towards Paxos' wild western coast. On this side of the island, the landscape turns rugged and steep, with cliffs dropping into the sea and large villas scattered along the hillside. Out here, the water was a tad choppier. Even though the boat swayed on the waves, the ride remained smooth enough to feel comfortable. The coastline here reveals some fascinating natural landmarks, including the Papanikolaos Sea Cave and Ortholithos, an imposing vertical rock formation rising straight out of the Ionian Sea. At around 12:45, the Megalochari dropped anchor in the cove outside of our next destination, the iconic Blue Caves of Paxos. The Blue Caves formed as the sea slowly sculpted Paxos limestone cliffs, shaping chambers flooded with brilliant blue light. Smaller boats can cruise straight into the caves. Larger boats moor a short distance from the cave entrance. Keen to explore the caves up close? Grab your swimming gear and dive in. If you're up for a little adrenaline, you can even climb partway up the cliff face and jump down into the water. The cave that most caught our eye had a collapsed roof, creating an interior bathed in warm sunlight and opening a view into the clear blue sky, rimmed by pine trees clinging to the steep rock. The water lit up in beautiful tones of turquoise and blue, sparkling against the rock around us. After just half an hour, it was time to swim back to the Megalochari. By 1:15, we were back on board, ready to set course for Gaios, the capital of Paxos. Cradled by the rolling waves, we took the chance to rest and let the coastline drift by, including the impressive Tripitos Arch, which was carved out of limestone by thousands of years of wave erosion. In the afternoon sun, the white limestone cliffs formed a beautiful contrast with the surrounding blues of sea and sky. After rounding the southern tip of Paxos, we made our turn north towards Gaios. Soon after, the houses of Gaios started coming into view. To enter the harbor of Gaios, boats need to circle around Panagia Island, home to a quiet little monastery, and then pass Agios Nikolaos Island, crowned by the remnants of its Venetian fortress. Around 2 p.m., we pulled into the tranquil port of Gaios. With the anchor down, we disembarked to explore the town at our own pace for a couple of hours. Gaios is the main port on the island of Paxos, the smallest of the 7 principal Ionian islands. You may have seen this quaint little town with its narrow streets and laid-back vibes in the Netflix series Maestro in blue. We immediately fell in love with Gaios, with its charming blend of pastel-colored Venetian-style houses and boats gently swaying on the clear blue water. The waterfront here is a lively place, lined with cafés and tavernas, an inviting scene that's both relaxed and vibrant. We wandered along the promenade, enjoying the peaceful rows of boats resting quietly on the water. Eventually, we spotted a cozy spot right by the water, Il Capriccio Creperie Gelateria, where the promise of a refreshing affogato was simply too good to pass up. Recharged, we left the promenade behind and slipped into the maze of narrow alleyways that weave through the heart of town. We walked past tiny shops overflowing with souvenirs, rows of small clothing boutiques, and restaurants tempting us with delicious-smelling delicacies. Every corner we turned offered another picture-perfect view. Bursts of bougainvillea, sun-worn houses, and quiet corners tucked away from the crowds. There's a timeless feel here, as if every alley has its own story to tell, and every restaurant table is a front-row seat to daily life on the island. Whether you think of it as serene, idyllic, or picturesque, Gaios simply ticks all the boxes. Before long, it was almost 4 o'clock. Time for us to get back on the Megalochari for our departure from Gaios. As the boat moved slowly past the sunlit promenade, we got one final look at the laid-back charm of Gaios. Behind us, Gaios grew smaller and softer, just a handful of colorful rooftops drifting out of view. Moments later, we passed the little islands marking the harbor entrance. Out on the open water, the crew raised the sails and we started making our way back to Parga. Happy and pleasantly worn out, we let the gentle rocking of the waves lull us into a well-earned nap after a day packed with unforgettable moments. By the time we woke up again, we were almost back in Parga. By 5:45, we were in the port of Parga again, back where the day had started. As we stepped off the boat, we knew this cruise would be one of the highlights of our time in northern Greece.